everybody? Welcome to the Comic Gaming Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to talk about something that happened a few days ago. Now, a few days ago now, been a while, been a little bit, AMC and Universal made a new deal. Now, I've made videos talking about this whole VOD thing, where there's a lot of people who want, there's a lot of movie studios and more importantly, people who work in this industry of talking about this stuff and reporting on this stuff and get paid to do that, who want some of these studios, namely Warner Brothers and Disney, mostly, to put these movies out on VOD so that they can get them, because the argument is that some money's better than no money. That's the big argument for some of these studios putting their big movies on VOD. Some money is better than no money. And right now, a lot of the theaters are hurting. Most of the theaters are hurting pretty freaking bad. Really bad. I don't know how many people even have a theater open up next to them. Like, some theaters are trying to open up. I've heard that Regal is trying to open up mid-August. So we'll see if that happens. But like I said, a lot of theaters are hurting bad, and obviously Christopher Nolan and Tenet, he wanted to put that out. Tenet was supposed to be coming out, but it got pushed back, somewhat. It's still coming out in August, but it's not coming out in America in August. It got pushed back to come out in America in September. We're going to see if that actually happened. But Tenet's coming out worldwide in any box office it can, August 26th. That's what it's coming out, and it's just going to do it. It's just going to come out. New Mutants is supposed to come out in August. We'll see if it comes out. Though I think some people are a bit confused about New Mutants, because I see a lot of people like, why don't they just put it on Disney Plus? And I think some people are confused about contracts, or they don't understand the term contracts. Understand this. Most movies have theatrical contracts with them. They're done before they're ever made, really. Where you have to put this movie in the theaters for a certain amount of time before you can put it anywhere else. Not to mention, all of the Fox movies that Disney owns in particular have contracts to other services. So for instance, Disney can't just put New Mutants on Disney Plus. New Mutants is a Fox film, so Disney inherits all their contracts. When Disney bought Fox, they inherited their debt, they inherited their projects, and they inherited all their contracts. Disney is paying the former X-Men cast right now for contract for movies that will never get made, because they have to. That you inherit the contracts, you bought it all. But the problem is, what in those contracts is, New Mutants has to go to HBO first, which HBO and HBO Max are the same thing, so it's probably going to go to HBO Max first. If Disney were to say not want to put it out in theaters and want to skip that, it would be basically premiering on HBO Max, which would be like, yeah, you're gonna give your competitor, like, it's gonna have to premiere on HBO Max unless they buy out the at that point, if you bought out the deal from the theaters and HBO Max, it would cost a pretty penny, which is why New Mutants is probably gonna go out. It's probably gonna go out when Regal tries to open up those theaters. They're gonna see what happens, and hopefully, and see what happens. But mostly this video, and that's a side note, that's a side thing, people can argue about that day and night. But mostly this video is to talk about the deal between AMC and Universal, which is basically that AMC gets to put their Universal gets to put their movies out in AMC theaters, which, if you've been following along with this story, you realize that AMC pretty much told Universal to fuck themselves when they tried to just put all their movies, when they were like, oh, we're just going to put some of our movies straight to VOD, fuck you guys. But now AMC is desperate enough to accept this deal. And the deal is that Universal gets to release their movie in AMC theaters, but the movies only get to be in theaters for 17 days. A couple weeks, really. And after 17 days, they could go right to VOD. But the deal is, AMC gets 10% of their VOD, of the money they make on VOD. And there's other things in the deal, but that's the general deal. And a lot of people think that this is the sign of the end of the movie theaters. This is it. The end is nigh for movie theaters. We'll never be going out to movie theaters again. But the thing is, I really don't think people quite understand how much money that will be flushed down the toilet if other studios and other places do this. By the way, I'm not even gonna really get into the fact that both Disney and Warner Brothers and Regal Cinema, the second biggest movie chain on the planet behind AMC, said, fuck no, we're not doing that. Like, they both said that. Because Disney, smart enough, they said, we have these massive tentpole movies that will not make any money on VOD. I don't get why people don't quite understand this. Yes, Trolls made money. Trolls made money relative to it being a bomb. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, Trolls made more money than the original Trolls. That's because the original Trolls bombed. And the thing about the Trolls was that it was the first of its kind. It was the first big movie to go direct to VOD. And when it did that, it was like a huge deal. Like, everyone was like, well, how's this gonna work? Everyone was so curious about it. But what leads being buried is most of the other movies going direct to VOD are not doing that well. Most of them. And there's this narrative out there that somehow, like, VOD is gonna just replace the theater process, somehow, as if studios are willing to give up hundreds of millions of dollars just to make it convenient for you. Like what? Like, I never got that. I'm like, Black Widow has to make at least $400 million to break even. To break even. Put that out there. That's how much Black Widow has to make to break even. It ain't making $400 million on VOD between pirates and group viewings. It's not gonna make that much. Like, but think about it like this. Think about it like this. And like, I've seen people argue it the other way, and I'm just, that's stupid, dude. How does this make any sense for if you put that movie Black Widow on VOD for, let's say, $25 tops, and someone buys it, and then they have their friend come over. Okay, that's about, you know what? Okay, that's about as much as it would be. Cool. And then have another friend come over, and they have another friend come over. Say someone has 10 friends come over, and I know the people who want this to happen will argue, well, you're not supposed to have that many people, and they shouldn't have that many people over. Do you think these people give a fuck? I think that there's two things at play why people think that this is a good idea. Two things. One is some people are naive. Some people think that pirates won't eat this shit alive. Some people think that your grandmother doesn't know what a torrent is. That a torrent is. Your grandmother doesn't know how to get free movies online. Your grandmother doesn't know how to work her Fire Stick. That's what some people think. That's what some people are under the illusion of. That your parents and people won't just get this shit on some other thing for free. And yes, people argue, and when you bring the pirate thing up, people kind of fight you back and go, well, people pirate things all the time. Yes, they pirate things, but it's shitty. Have you, like, come on, when a movie comes out, think about this. When Endgame came out, did you see when Endgame first came out in theaters, the first weekend, did you see any clear ones on a pirate? Because I can tell you, I saw some people posting up their, like, videos they took. They sucked. They sucked. That's what pirate was. That's not what pirate was. Pirate is, there's shitty ones, or there's one in a whole different language that's good quality, but it doesn't make any sense because it's in a different language, or you wait for the movie to come out and then it's a good pirate. But if you put these movies straight to VOD, all the pirates will be good. So why the fuck do I have to buy the movie? I'm not saying I condone pirating, but I'm saying I know a lot of people do. Especially at that price of $25 where I could just do this. You know what I mean? And to top it off, like I said, the group gatherings of 10 people, think about it. It's about $20 for two people at my local place. You bring 10 people over, that's a lot of fucking money going down the drain of people who don't have to even buy the movie now. And then you're gonna have people who just wait for it to come on a streaming service, so why would they ever even buy the movie? I don't think people think this through. Well, the thing is, there is a tangent of people in the YouTube community, to be fair, and in the Scoop community and stuff, who are so desperate, so thirsty to have something to talk about, to have something to sink their teeth in, to have a movie to review, a great big movie to review, to talk about, that they're starting to get to the point where they're like, they don't really care that this doesn't make any actual financial sense. They want something to talk about to improve their numbers. They want something to talk about to help out their viewership and their channels. So they want Marvel to put Black Widow on VOD so that way they can talk about it and use it to gather more of their people and grow their channels off of this. That's what they want. And it's just kind of dawned on me the other day when I was listening to a YouTuber that I like, and I'm just like, dude, I'm starting to think maybe you don't believe that this makes actual financial sense, in that you just really want them to do this so that you have something to talk about, so that you have something to report on, so that you have something to dissect and grow your channel off the back of. But with them not doing that, with them staying firm and wanting to make their actual money, you're like, oh, come on, guys. I need to make money here, too. And that's what a lot of channels are like right now. Most of the channels I see who are pushing the VOD agenda are really channels who are like, well, if you don't put it out, then I have nothing to talk about, and then me and my people have nothing to talk about, which then my channel's gonna stilt, so I need something to talk about. It's not a coincidence that so many channels on YouTube are built off the back of talking about the MCU. And right now, there is no MCU thing out, so they have nothing to talk about. And I think that that is a huge factor in this narrative that's out there, because the narrative really is that VOD is the future, and that if Disney and all these other people don't get on board with it, then they're being stubborn and stingy, and they're trying to peer pressure Disney and Warner Brothers into giving them content, into basically giving them content giving them content more conveniently and quickly. That's basically what this is about. That's basically what this comes down to, and it just really has become apparent to me that a lot of the people who are pushing the VOD don't actually think it makes any actual sense. They just really want something to talk about. They really are starving for something to talk about, and this is their chance. So thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. I just wanted to make this video to get my feelings out there on this whole VOD thing, because it's progressed and it's different now. And that thought really dawned on me when I was listening to a YouTuber that I enjoy, that it really became more apparent. I'm like, you really don't care about how much business or financial sense it makes to do this. You just want something to talk about. You want something to review. You're sitting there talking about, oh, we can watch party with my fans. Oh, we can do. I'm like, that's what you want to do. It's like, no. I see what you're talking about. And I'm like, this is basically most of these people who are pushing this agenda. So thank you for joining me on the Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.